You know, in the world of technology, most of us are used to hearing about breakthroughs coming out of Silicon Valley, or from giants like Apple, Intel, or Qualcomm. But every so often, something happens far away from California that shakes up the entire global stage. And that's exactly what just happened in Shenzhen, China. Huawei, yes, the same Huawei that many thought had been cornered, crippled, and left behind by US sanctions, is back with a bang. At their recent launch event, they unveiled a bold new flagship device, the triple-folding Mate XT. But the real story wasn't the folding phone, it was what's inside, the Kirin 9020 chip. This wasn't just another product launch, it was Huawei standing up and saying, "We're still here, we've rebuilt ourselves, and we've broken through the blockade." Now, before we go deeper, let me quickly ask you, if you find this kind of analysis valuable, please hit the like button and share this video. It really helps more people discover stories like these that the mainstream often brushes over. Alright, let's dig into why this chip matters. For 4 long years, Huawei stayed quiet about its chips. They barely mentioned them at public events. Why? Because Washington's tech blockade cut them off from the very lifeline of advanced semiconductors. Without access to TSMC's factories or American software tools, most analysts assumed Huawei's chip business was finished, dead in the water. But here's the twist. At this launch, Huawei openly announced the Kirin 9020. That openness itself was the big shock. It means they're confident. It means their technology is no longer just a risky experiment behind closed doors. It means they've reached a point of maturity. The Kirin 9020, built on Huawei's own Taishan architecture and manufactured entirely within China, is proof that they've clawed their way back to independence. And make no mistake, performance-wise, this chip is no slouch. Reports suggest it rivals Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Think about that. China was supposed to be kept 7 years behind. Yet here they are, barely 2 to 3 years away from the cutting edge. That's not a stumble forward, that's a leap. Let's rewind a little. Back in 2019, Huawei shocked the world with the Kirin 990, the first flagship 5G SoC. Then came the Kirin 9000 in 2020, the first 5mm 5G chip, powerful, efficient, and ahead of its time. But then came the US sanctions. TSMC, under pressure, stopped producing for Huawei. The Kirin 9000 became a farewell swan song. After that, silence. No announcements, no new chips, just speculation. And for years, Huawei's silence was deafening. Analysts, governments, and even Washington itself kept asking, can they really survive? But behind the scenes, Huawei was quietly working. In August 2023, they gave us a teaser, the Kirin 9000s built with domestic technology. A Bloomberg teardown later confirmed it. China had produced a 7mm chip on its own. That was the first crack in the wall. Now with the Kirin 9020, the wall is not just cracked, it's broken. This raises a much bigger question. If China was supposed to be frozen out, how are they advancing so fast? And what does it mean for the global semiconductor race? Here's where it gets interesting. The US strategy, through the CHIPS Act and sanctions, was to block China from accessing anything below 49mm. The logic was simple. Cut them off, and they'll fall years behind. But Chinese companies, led by Huawei, have narrowed that gap dramatically. Instead of trailing by 7 years, they're now maybe 2 or 3 generations behind. And that difference matters because it changes the global balance of power in tech. And don't forget, the US still holds a critical card, EUV lithography machines. These ultra-precise tools, made only by ASML in the Netherlands, are essential for producing chips smaller than 7nm. China doesn't have them. But here's the kicker. Huawei is compensating. Instead of relying on bleeding-edge hardware, they're optimizing with software-hardware integration and leaning heavily on their domestic supply chain. And that supply chain is where the real shift is happening. Take Huawei's smartphones as an example. A couple of years ago, the Mate 60 series still needed parts from abroad. Lenses, memory chips, other key components. But by the time the Pura 70 came out, teardowns showed that more and more parts, like NAND flash memory, were Chinese-made. Fast forward to the Pura 80 Ultra. Its entire high-end camera system was supplied domestically. This isn't just about saving costs, it's about self-sufficiency. It's about insulating themselves from future sanctions. Now, let me pause here for a second and ask you, what do you think about this? Do you see Huawei's comeback as a triumph of resilience, or do you think it's a short-term win with limits ahead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take because this story affects everyone who follows technology, economics, and geopolitics. All right, back to the big picture. This is not just about Huawei. It's about China's broader strategy. Despite sanctions, they've doubled down on research and development, and they've paired technological progress with a message of national strength. Think about the timing. On September 3rd, China held a massive military parade showcasing advanced domestically developed weapons. And the very next day, Huawei unveiled the Mate XT with the Kirin 9020. The symbolism couldn't be clearer. Independence in defense, independence in technology. From the Chinese perspective, this isn't just about making phones. It's about national security. It's about proving to themselves and the world that they cannot be choked off by foreign pressure. Now, on the global stage, the numbers tell their own story. In 1990, the US manufactured 37% of the world's chips. By 2025, that number will be closer to 11%. Meanwhile, China's share has gone from just 7% in 2005 to nearly a quarter today. That's a staggering shift. It shows that the semiconductor industry is no longer dominated by a single hub like Taiwan or the US. It's becoming decentralized, multi-centered, and China is firmly establishing itself as one of those centers. But of course, challenges remain. Without EUV machines, they're capped at 7 nanometers. TSMC, by contrast, is already producing 2 nanometer chips, 3 full generations ahead. So the gap is real, but here's the nuance. Not every application needs the absolute smallest node. Phones, cars, telecom infrastructure, many of these can run just fine on 7nm chips. And that's where Huawei and China can compete effectively. The US knows this. Alan Estes, the Undersecretary of Commerce, has even warned Congress not to get complacent, acknowledging that China is catching up faster than expected. So where does this leave us? First, Huawei's announcement signals a return to normalcy for the company. They're no longer hiding, they're openly selling chips. That means yields, efficiency, and production capacity have stabilized. Second, it highlights China's relentless pursuit of independence. Piece by piece, they're reducing reliance on foreign suppliers. Third, it reshapes the global market. The era of one dominant hub is gone. And if you've been following my channel, you know what this means. The semiconductor race is no longer just about technology. It's about power, strategy, and resilience. Now, to wrap this up, Huawei's story is not just about a company making a comeback. It's about perseverance under pressure. It's about refusing to fold when the world expects you to. And it's about showing that innovation can thrive even in the harshest conditions. If you've watched all the way till here, thank you. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future updates. And of course, thanks so much for watching.